So I'm sitting here on the side of the road with a busted down motorcycle about 100 miles away from my home in southern Arizona. But it's taken me 6,000 miles to get here. This is a long story, but it's a good one. Stick around. So as most of you know, I just finished up a 6,000 mile solo ride across the United States. That was my big ride of the summer. And you've been following that series as I traveled from southern Arizona up to northwest Montana and all the way back down to Arizona. It was a month long, it was 6,000 miles. I didn't have any issues with the bike until the very end of the trip. And it's kind of funny because the last thing that I recorded on that trip was riding off into the sunset in New Mexico, and I thought at that point in time that the filming for the trip was going to be done. But the next morning, I was 100 miles away from my home in southern Arizona, going down the highway, and my bike broke. I was just going down the road and the engine started making some noises. The red light came on. Over to the side of the road we went. I don't know what it is yet, but it didn't sound good. It doesn't feel good. And so now we're getting to the part you guys have all been waiting for. What happened to me at the end of my ride, riding solo after 6,000 miles? Why did I end up broke down on the side of the road 100 miles away from home? To make a long story short, this is what happened. You can see in this picture, this is a drive shaft, and my drive shaft broke. And it caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that to happen. In fact, that's one of the things that I thought I liked the most about the BMW motorcycle is the shaft drive, that it doesn't require as much maintenance as a chain, and it's generally going to be a lot more long-lasting, durable, and less expensive than a chain drive motorcycle. I think that's supposedly one of the strong points about this motorcycle. And I still think that, but I did obviously have a problem with my drive shaft. It's worth asking the question, did this just happen out of the blue, or did I have any indication or warnings that this was going to happen? And I just want to be completely honest with you about this. My warning indicator was coming on my trip across North America. It was intermittent, and the red light on the dash would come on, and it would go off. And I didn't know what was causing it. The bike was running fine. But obviously when something like that happens, you want to get it checked out. You don't want to ride too far. You want to be able to prevent something bad from happening before that happens. And that started to happen to me near the end of my trip when I was in Colorado. And when I stopped to get new tires put on my motorcycle, I inquired about getting some service done on my bike and having them look into this. But at the time, they were 3 weeks away from having the nearest open service appointment. So I couldn't really get anything done at that time, and so I decided to do the best I could, which means to keep an eye on the problem, pay attention to how often that warning light is going on, and if I started to notice or feel or sense or hear anything different, to proceed accordingly. And the last day, as I was getting close to home, I was 150 miles away from home, and I was going down the highway. I was like a horse smelling the barn. I did start to slightly feel something very subtle going on in my engine, like a vibration, and it was so subtle that I was wondering, and I'm sure this has happened to you as well, you wonder, like, is this even real? Am I noticing something here or not? And I know from experience that I usually don't feel that way about something unless something really is happening, as subtle as it may be. And that's something that you pick up after riding for years and years, is that you really learn how to become in tune with your motorcycle and the way that it works and how it feels. And if you start to notice something, as small as it may be, you want to catch it before it becomes a big problem. And so I was going down the road and I was feeling what I thought was maybe something just a little bit different. And I was thinking, I'm going to talk to some of my friends about this when I get back. And obviously, the first thing I'm going to do when I get home is bring my bike into the dealership. Number one, it needs its 6,000 mile service, and number two, there's something else going on. I've got this light going on and off, and maybe I'm feeling something or not. And that's when it happened. That's when it broke, and it put me on the side of the road. So I called my girlfriend. She drove my van up we put the motorcycle on the back of the van. We got it home. I brought it into the dealership, and then they called me on the phone and said, this is what happened. This is your drive shaft here. This is another drive shaft. This is yours. This is what yours looks like, and it's broken. I asked them if that was normal, if they've seen that happen before, and they said, well, it's definitely not normal, and it doesn't happen very often. They said that they've seen it happen more frequently in the police motorcycles that they service, because those guys quite often go from sitting completely still on the side of the road to giving it the gas and going really fast to catch up to somebody that was speeding. A couple other factors that could go into making this happen are that, number one, I carry a lot of weight on the back of my motorcycle, and so that geometry has changed, and all that extra weight puts a little additional stress on the drive shaft and the swing arm. And to be quite honest, I ride off-road quite a bit. Maybe they're not always the hardest roads, but sometimes they are. And that additional vibration of gravel roads and washboard roads and rocks contributes over time to additional wear over the drive shaft. So I'm not an expert on this, but I think in my case it's a combination of maybe the kind of roads that I ride, the kind of weight that I carry on my motorcycle, and or some kind of mechanical or manufacturing defect. So the good news is that right before I left on my riding solo trip, my bike was approaching the end of its manufacturer's warranty. And so I picked up an extended warranty before I left. I got a warranty from a company called RPM1. You can get them through a motorcycle dealership. I went to a BMW dealership. I picked up an extended warranty. It's a 5-year warranty, unlimited miles, and it covers all the things you would want or expect it to cover on a motorcycle. The drivetrain, the electronics, the engine, all of those things are covered for an additional 5 years, unlimited miles. So I picked up that warranty before I left. I'm really glad I picked it up because my drive shaft was covered under that warranty. It would have been an $1,800 repair to get a new drive shaft put in, but I paid $0 because I got the extended warranty, which in my case, I'm really glad that I got it. And I still have 4.5 years left on that warranty. I think that the warranty cost about $1,200, and I'm obviously really glad that I got it because it paid for this drive shaft, and hopefully any problems I have in the near future with this bike might still also be covered under that warranty. I hate to stick it to those warranty guys, but that's the reason that you get a warranty. And, you know, I just want to give a positive shout out to this company, RPM1, for covering me. You know, it's unusual that I would buy an extended warranty and then a month later bring my bike in there with a broken drive shaft, but that's just the way it worked out. Those guys were really good. They didn't ask any questions. They covered it and they sent me on my way. How do I summarize this? Is this a good motorcycle for me? Would I recommend it? I think obviously, you know, despite the things that I've mentioned that have went wrong with this motorcycle, it's been a good bike for me, more or less. I've taken it on some great adventures. I believe that it still has many, many more miles to go and many adventures to come. You know, it's not been without its problems. It's not a perfect motorcycle, but no motorcycle is. You're going to have issues with whatever motorcycle you get. And this is just, again, my experience with my bike. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot, you guys, and we'll see you soon.